Hey everybody, it's Glenn back in this video with Confessions of an Ebayaholic featuring Ant-Man and not just the one plus Yellow Jacket Wasp and his flying ant Anthony. Yep, I've only gone and bitten the bullet again on buying more knockoffs for your viewing pleasure. All plucked from eBay in a job lot, shipped to me here in the UK from China for the grand sum of 2 pennies shy of £5. But as the saying goes, one man's trash is another man's treasure, so let's take a closer look to see just what we have here. So first up is the knockoff movie Ant-Man seen on the left of the screen compared to on the right the Hasbro Marvel Legends Ant-Man. Yet given the knockoff size, a more apt comparison would likely be with the 4-inch Ant-Man action figure that came in the Flying Ant set also by Hasbro. And although that set was made by, if not one of, then the biggest toy company in the world, if you remember my review, the Flying Ant had all the quality of a knockoff. Yet the Ant-Man action figure from the set was not too bad. And hopefully side by side like this you can tell legitimate from the fake, but in case you can't, here's a clue, well 2 clues, those 2 big screw holes in the back of the knockoff. As that's usually a telltale sign of a fake, either that or you've just bought the Star Wars Elite series from the Disney store. So sure, you're probably sat there thinking, whew, he's a bit rough around the edges, but what if I tell you this is the best of the bunch? But before we move on to the rest, let's take a look at his articulation. His arms rotate at the shoulder and he has hinged elbows, then his legs move backwards and forwards at the hips, his head rotates and pivots up and down slightly. Moving on, and in the year that Ant-Man went from the comic page to the silver screen, we're doing it in reverse as we're going from movie Ant-Man to comic Ant-Man. A knockoff on the left of the screen here compared to on the right the 6-inch scale Marvel Legends version by Toy Biz. Yet in spite of the difference in scale here, they do share that bright red and blue comic book-ness of the costume, albeit with the knockoff it's more red, blue and black because they couldn't be bothered to paint the back piece there, leaving it the black of the base plastic. And under some even closer scrutiny, the deco suffers from some colouring outside the lines, not to mention the eye there. He seems to be crying a single black tear, either that or his pupils melting. Moving on again, and a hero ain't nothing without a villain to fight, so we have Yellow Jacket. And just maybe I was premature in declaring movie Ant-Man as the best of the bunch, as perhaps it's Yellow Jacket. I mean, I don't want to overdo the praise by no means, but it does seem like they spent at least a minute staring at pictures from the movie in making this Yellow Jacket. Plus, to some degree, they were breaking new ground, as the only legitimate version of the villain we got was this itty-bitty little figurine that came with the 6-inch movie Legends Ant-Man. Plus, his pincer arms in the back are slightly posable, which is kinda cool, I guess. Which is just about as glowing as this review is gonna get, as now we're moving on to the Wasp. And if these action figures came with another accessory, it should be an ugly stick, because boy has she been hit by it. She is ugly. Actually, not so much ugly, she's more what? The head is part anime and part inflatable sex doll, and the way it sits super high on the neck makes me think it originated on another action figure to begin with. And side by side with the legit Marvel Legends one, it gives me new appreciation of Hasbro's effort, for at the very least they can tell brown from purple. Something Hasbro were able to do that I really appreciated was that in plastic they were able to capture the delicate elegance of her wings. With this knockoff, not at all. Cause with these ugly things strapped to her back, she ain't taken to the air at all. I mean, they are removable, but then that does nothing to solve the overall anime sex doll look of the action figure. And now we have Ant-Man atop of Anthony, the flying ant, that in the movie was a bit of a scene stealer, no? And no doubt the knockoff mimics the pack-in version that came with the Hasbro Marvel Legends movie Ant-Man. And I gotta believe here that the knockoff Anthony had a prior life as a generic ant toy that they've now decided to stick Ant-Man atop of. So his head articulates around, and in the deco they've given him pupils because the itty bitty little Ant-Man of Hasbro's version is sculpted in a seated pose, and to place him on Anthony you wedge Anthony between Ant-Man's spread legs, and that way he stays on Anthony. It's a simple solution that keeps him on there, but these knockoff makers, they over-engineered going an extra step. So can you spot the inappropriately placed peg? And it suddenly becomes crystal clear why that wasp had a big old smile on her face. So to sit Ant-Man on Anthony, we need to insert his peg into Anthony's back. Oh, it's quite stiff and hard to get in. And on that note, all things considered, I think it was worth £5 just for the giggles it's given me alone. Anyway, click the video on the left for the previous episode of Confessions of an Ebayaholic featuring Drax. Alternatively, click the video on the right for more knockoff fun featuring the Hulkbuster. And I hope to see you all next time. Bye.